Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Nuduhu wasta'inuhu wastadihi wastaghfiruhu wa u'minu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu arsalahu bil huda wa dinil haq liyudhhiruhu ala din kullihi wallahu karihal mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant messenger. And Allah sent His messenger with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. And this way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, فَإِنَّ أَصْدَقَ الْحَدِيثِ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ وَأَوْضَاقَ الْأُورَى كَلِمَةُ التَّقْوَى وَخَيْرُ الْمِلَالِ مِلَّةُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَخَيْرُ السُّنَنِ سُنَّةُ مُحَمَّدٍ صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله وأحسن القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوازموها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفع وخير الهادي ما أتبع وشر الأمة أما الكون. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the communities is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. The best acts are the ones that yield benefits. The best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan willeth to guide, He opens their breasts to Islam. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of Islam. وَأَتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out to you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. You are the best peoples raised up for mankind, or you're the best people evolved for mankind. And why is that? It's because you enjoin the right and you forbid the wrong, and you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we like to wish everybody a gracious Eid Mubarak. I mean, we had a wonderful month of prayer, fasting, and camaraderie for this whole month. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this month of Ramadan so that we might enjoy those blessings. Because during that time, the devil is locked up in chains. He's held in chains, right? And he's locked up in chains because it leaves you free to do good deeds. See, he's locked up in chains because that everything that he uses against you, right? Your nous, your intellect, all those things that the shaitan uses to distract you, to slow you down, to divert you from the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, though he is tied up in chains because those things are in suspended animation because you're using the tool that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you, that is fasting, right? To guard and safeguard against the shaitan. And so it is a month of protection. It's a month of hidayah. It's a month of dhikr, of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's a month of brotherhood and sisterhood. And we thank Allah for this great month because, see, just like cars need tune-ups, everything needs to be retooled and rekindled from time to time. Our body, our mind, we need to pull back every now and then from the everyday hassles in life and rejuvenate ourselves. There's one article that says, the human being, Allah's greatest creation, has been blessed with a combination of characteristics which, if used properly, can enable him or her to steadily develop into Allah's Khalifa, that is, his vicegerent, or Allah's representative. Conversely, if these very same characteristics are left unchecked, they will lead the human being to be debased or to a debased existence, making him the lowest of the low. In the Quran it says that Allah made us with the ability to rise to the highest of the high, that is above angels, or to the lowest of the low, lower than the lowest shaitan, the lowest evil person. We can do that. This is Allah gave the angels that one ability to do just good deeds or to do what they were ordained to do. But the human being can do both. He can do very, very good, or he can do maximum wrong. And this is what Ramadan is for, is to help us train ourselves, condition ourselves, right? Train those nafs. So it's like there's a horse, and then there's the rider. The horse has its own mind. The horse wants to do what it wants to do, right? It wants to take you where it wants to go, right? But then there's a rider that has a bridle on the horse that controls that horse. And this is what Ramadan, this is what fasting is about. It's a bridle on that body to direct the human being where it should go or where it can go for good. Right? And if he leaves that horse to go, that body to go wherever he wants to go, he's going to go and he's going to do the things that are pleasing. Cool in the summer and warm in the winter, all those things, right? That may be good for him, but it may not be good for that person. So fasting is prescribed for you. It was written for us. As it was written before us, that we learn self-restraint, self-control, self-discipline, So the rider wants to control the horse, to take him to the lofty and high places, not to the low places of sin and degradation. So this is what fasting is for us to condition ourselves, for us to train ourselves, right? So that now the body becomes a trained servant for the Islamic movement, a trained servant for the worship of Allah, right? That's what this whole mud is about. It's about a training, it's about a discipline. Tatakun, that you learn self-restraint, self-control, self-discipline, that you learn how to maintain and control and to direct yourself, because the body is either going to be rebellious, and rebellion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be a servant to Allah. Right? And the same thing about the movement. You're either going to be a person that works for the Islamic movement, or you're going to challenge and rebel against the Islamic movement. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us this wonderful body, this wonderful mind. We direct it towards the dhikr of Allah, that we enhance this elative takbir, Allahu Akbar, raising Allah higher and better. And the better and the more we fast, the better we become as human beings. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La tarkabuna tabakan and tabaki. You shall surely ride upon event after event. Sayyid Qutb says about this ayat, you shall certainly ride from stage after stage. That is to say, you will pass from one stage of suffering to another, to what has been predestined for you. The Quran uses the term ride to denote the ongoing of various stages of suffering. Ride is frequently used in Arabic to signify the passage through risk and difficulty. This usage suggests that difficulties and risks are like horses or mules to be ridden. Each one will take the riders the stage predestined for it and for them. Thus each one will deliver them to a new stage, which is again predetermined in the same way as universal stages. This La tarbakuna, tarbakan and tabakin. You shall surely ride upon event after event. Most people feel very depressed about challenging events that come to them. Most people feel real oppression. Most people feel that, oh, these bad things are happening to me, and therefore I'm cursed. or something of that nature, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has something different in mind for you. What it technically means is the more challenges you face, the more encounters you have, the more you overcome in life is just like catching a ride out there, right? On the bus, in a taxi. And that ride takes you from one place to another until it's time for you to get off. Well, the same thing with Talbarakin. It is a method, it is a process. That these events, as it says, these events in life will take you from one stage to another. It will take you to one elevation after the other until it's time for you to get off that transportation system, right? So really, the challenges that we face in life, and Ramadan is one of them, that at the end of each session that we go through these changes, we have evolved. Like taking a ride on a horse or a mule or in a car, that it takes us from one elevation, one stage after another. Now, you and I here in America, we have various challenges. But we have different rides, different challenges than some of our brothers and sisters in other areas. Right now in Yemen, they're being the poorest Arab country in the world, is being bombed and oppressed by the richest Saudi Arabian society in the world. The richest out of the Muslims are killing the poorest out of the Muslims on a continuous basis. And the world ain't saying nothing about it. Or they just cough a little bit. Why? Because the Americans and the Zionists love Saudi Arabia and they hate the Yemenis who's fighting against them. But you look at those brothers and sisters are taking things we couldn't even consider. Imagine hospitals full of little babies with little arms the same size as your finger, right? And you see them on TV all the time, but they're holding up, they're bearing up, right? They're not buckling, they've been doing this for 6 years and they still rolling right along. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them the ability to live up to and to face the challenges, right, that they have. Our Palestinian brothers have been expelled, and corralled, and bombed and stressed in their land, right, for almost a modern eternity, over 60 years, and they're still holding on. And the Zionists are using precision bombs against them, but they're holding on, right? The Zionists is using all types of deception and perception management. The world perceives the Palestinian as the troublemaker, as the murderer, the killer, and they call the settler the peacemaker. The ones that came there and stole the brother's land, stole the sister's land, and made them orphans in their own land. They're looked upon by perception management, right? The one that's managing the perception, ABC, CBS, the bad old Palestinians, isn't that right? And the good old Zionists, the wonderful democratic Zionists, right? Who are slaughtering us every day. Now, what this means is each group of people, if we was in Afghanistan, they'd have another challenge. They would have another ride that they would have to mount, right? Now you and I, here we are in America. But we got to ride too. We got to be very skillful about the things that we're looking at in this society. Because the sniper has trained their weapon on you and I. The Muslim and the African American, especially out of the African American community, you can see this diabolical plan. It's easy to see. They're trying to take our mind, right, back to the 1960s. Why? There's police brutality. There's a man with his knee on our brother's neck and he dies. He calls for his mother, right? And the whole world sees it. Now most of the rebellions, what they call riots, like the Watts riot and all that, they were because of police brutality. So here they are, they're moving toward artificial intelligence, at breakneck speed, and going into a new existence, right? Right now. But they want to keep you and our mind back in the 1960s. What about all the movies you see? The new movie a few months back about Fred Hampton, right? Take you back to 1969. He's the one who started the Rainbow Coalition. It's a good idea, right? But they don't want us up here in the modern world moving to the future, right? They want us back in the past. They want us to read Martin Luther King-ize the movement. So when you go to the movies, you turn on the TV, there they are again, strange fruit, right? The same woman that sang a beautiful song, and it's a good message in it. But it was that message way back then. The bad old FBI, right, is doing things to black people, and now we have to do what? We have to get new police review boards. We used to, not that it's anything new about it, same thing we was talking about in the 60s, right? So this is a dirty trick, but it's working. All the lawyers, all the people's mind right now is focused way back then. Look what they doing to us. So we can get back there with them, right? And forget about the future. They're stealing the future right out from under. Tell the truth. They're stealing the future. They got artificial intelligence moving at a zillion miles an hour, and we're not paying attention to that. We letting them take our mind. See, whoever focuses your mind, whoever focuses your thinking, whoever controls your attitude and your goals and expectations, they're the ones that's running your life, right? So we have to modernize. Yeah, we're going to spend 25% of our time, and we're going to focus on all these people. Why are they killing out so many brothers? Of course, they've been doing it all the time.